Greetings and salutations, friends. Character NPC, your host, back for another stream. Where have we been? What are we doing? How are we not dead yet? Well, friends, we left Elfwine 4 days ago, officially. So we've been 4 days on the road, and we've made it 35 miles. At this point, we're at our midnight encounter on the 4th day, so this will end the day. Along the way, though, as we left the safety of the Elfwine hex, you might say, we ran into an ogre last. Can't believe we survived that, but I kind of fudged it as the solo DM so that he came up and postured the first round and didn't just smash us all to death. And that's where things begin. We've got this, as I said, this last encounter to deal with, and we already rolled a 1, so we know it's going to happen. And we are in Hex 1323, just 10 miles in as we finish resting. So, you know, right about here, third of the way through this hex. This is 30 miles. We've just entered this hex in this day, and it was the last day that we had 3/4 movement. We got the clear day, and then we had today there was light fog in the morning. And we have the lawnmowers outside, so as you hear the enchanting whining of lawn mowing equipment, it is the droning of bees outside. Yes. Let's see. So I got a little sidetracked and interrupted there. It'll be going on a while, sadly. That's the way streaming goes. It's live. It's not Memorex. There we go again. How about that? And hold on a moment. Maybe I need to rethink this. Give me just a moment. Thanks for bearing with me here. They don't take long. They're my guys, so it's ironic that I started this right when they were coming through. I didn't expect them on a Monday. Alright, so while we have a moment, as I said, we're 10 miles into this hex. We've got this midnight encounter we're going to deal with. But I don't want to roll on that table the way it was. I was going back and forth about it. Sorry, it was getting really bad coming by the window there. Let me back up. I should have recapped. Along with going to bed, this is in the middle of the night, right? So this would be interrupting our sleep for this particular encounter. But there were a few things that I wanted to mention that I really didn't do very well the last stream. And it comes to mind because I'm having these struggles with the lawn mowing right now and these noises on this stream. What I didn't do last stream very well during that first encounter of combat was I didn't really keep track of rounds, and that is so important. Rounds and turns, got to keep strict track of rounds and turns. Hit points, and I had these things jotted down to make it more simple. I really didn't need to write this section down because I used the combat wheel and it made it so easy to find out what the hits were. I could even look at it each time and just say, oh yeah, totally, it's this, 12, 10, whatever. So this was kind of superfluous, something like that. You know what I'm talking about. And then I should mention we found 50 gold on him, because that was the individual treasure item on the ogre, and then he was worth 95 experience points. So I forget what it'll be, 5 to 1, 10 to 1 for a gold piece to experience. So I'll have to go look that up, but we'll come back to that. So I need to document a little bit better when encounters happen and keep track of time. And then, as I was mentioning, the other thing was the encounter itself. Just the table straight out of the Dungeon Master's Guide does not lend itself to first level encounters, and as a DM I would have done something about that. I thought they were going to kick up the blowers there. So I wanted to roll to have a predefined list that was level appropriate for outdoor encounters during a scenario or during that part of the campaign. You would translate this into whatever makes sense. For me, it's going to be this whole adventure of going to get the golden vessel, basin, basically, from Aratar back to Elfwine for this job. So this will be what's used as long as we're on the road. Okay, and I thought I would add a few more to this. If you've ever looked again at The beginning of the Dungeon Master's Guide, it talks about how die rolling comes into play, because there's often these points in which you have to, as the DM, make decisions as to what is going to happen, where there's gaps in the rules, or to make the rules make sense. That's the essence of first edition Advanced Dungeons & Dragons. And rather than open up the book and everything, I'll just kind of draw, this is that bell curve, right, where whatever die roll, something happening on this axis is just a little more relevant in this section. So I've decided to put things, first I rolled up what, that first day in that first video about encounters, I rolled up what are these things that we'll be facing, and then I kind of hem-hawed about the quantity. I settled on 1-4 number of appearing for all of them in the end. I think, we'll struggle through it. We may still all die, but, we could die from any of these in numbers, but except for pilgrims and merchants. But that'll give us an opportunity for some rumors. So it's more likely in the middle, so we've got 20% chances for the pilgrims and the merchants to come up, because when we were rolling it, they just appeared often. It was this is how the rolls actually went, and we ended up with everything here except orcs. I added orcs, and we rolled later for brigands in the second stream. So I actually added orcs, because I'll talk about that in a minute. But anyway, you can see the merchants came up 3 times and pilgrims came up 3 times versus everything else that was rolled, taking away orc. So I gave these 20% chance each. Then as the outliers come away from the die roll, we have, more humans, but on the evil side, orcs and gnolls, or wild boar, which are edible, right? We would be getting food without having to forage and everything all the time. Wolves and giant rats as the outliers go out. So you've got 15%, 10%, and 5%. So the outliers will be gnolls and giant ants that will fight. And then the next in would be orcs or wolves, brigands or wild boars. You might kind of look at it from this die roll perspective. Okay, so what does this all mean then? It means that we need to roll on this particular chart for the midnight encounter, and then that will sum up the end of the day for the 10th. And we may not get much further after discussing this and how this came into being. Final encounter on the 10th of Coldeven. It's a Moonday. It was foggy early in the morning, and then after the fog lifted is when we finally decided, okay, we're tired, let's set up camp. We encountered the ogre, and now the party is sleeping. Oh, let's find out who actually is on watch, because it's midnight. And I'm gonna roll a 6-sider and use the sidebar images there in order. That is the party order if we're going in dungeoneering, or whatever the case is when we need an order. So I'm gonna stick with that. And it is Asher Wildwood again. So twice we've had our ranger be at a critical moment when something is happening. That would mean though he's taken it twice, so maybe I won't. No, it can't be Asher. We'll have to roll again, because He was the one that was on the evening watch with the ogre. So it's got to be somebody besides him. Well, come on. 5. Uh-oh. Svaldi Moonday, our magic user, was up. Probably studying for spells. Okay, so what is it? It is 69, which is merchants. Merchants come wandering up in the middle of the night after a long day's travel, and it's Svaldi who encounters them. Let's see, 1 to 4. It's just one merchant. And, like I said, this will give an opportunity for, rumors, for discussion. So, let's take this time to do that. And first, we'll see, do any rumors exist? Village or smaller? 1d4 minus 2. Yes, there are 2 possible rumors. And Svaldi offers him, you know, the warmth of the fire and some dried rations. Sorry, friend, that's all I've got to offer. It's water if you need it. And the merchant says, no. I have my own. And he just takes a seat by the fire and warms himself, accepting the friendly offer to rest a while. And so, Svaldi tries to engage him in a conversation. Let's see what happens. Two. Oh, that's terrible. And the guy just completely ignores him. So he's a merchant, doesn't really know people. Turns out he wasn't accepting any food or anything because he's totally, like, not into taking the risk of engaging in conversation out in the hinterlands between cities, even on the merchant road. Totally ignored him. Alright. And there was only one, so that's it. Even though there's another rumor available, it did not happen. Okay, so not much really happened through the night, and it was disturbing. You know, it was a moment where people woke up and you know, had to roll over and find a way to get back to sleep. But there wasn't so much as of an encounter as there would have been with combat. So mainly I'm going to just rule that everyone got a good night's rest. Where is my workflow card? Oh yeah, I didn't mention, I mentioned what experience points we got for the ogre that we killed, but I didn't mention where that came from. And this is the Dungeon Master's Guide in the back. Because there is an experience point value listed for the ogre, you can see here on page 208, it has, you know, all the stats that you would need to actually conduct combat and stuff. But then at the end here, experience point value is 90 plus 5 per hit point, and it has 4 hit dice plus 1, so it's 95 is it. So that's where that value came from. If you've never played first edition D&D, I think I mentioned this, that this is all in the archives now and public domain, so you can get these books that I'm using. I think you can get PDFs of them for free, pretty much. Yeah, I encourage you to play. So, did that second encounter on the 10th I should document was merchant. Okay, and that was it for the day. So we're rested, and I'm going to say that we've eaten, so we'll be on the 11th. And we're in hex. We're still in hex 1323, I think I said. Yeah, 1323. We'll end this day at, now we'll be at full movement, and that is 20, assuming it doesn't rain again. So we would be at the end of the hex. We'd be at the hex edge at the end of the day. And we'll have our highs and our low. And what else was I going to... I needed to do encounters, and we'll be in the plains, so it will be encounters of what did I say it was again? Morning encounters in the plains, morning, evening, midnight. Morning, evening, midnight. And that's it. We're good. So we will check the weather. 42 plus minus, so 1 8 and 1 10 cider. See that? Yeah. For the 8 cider high, we add 4 to that, so 8, so 50 degrees. Now where did I put my... That was stupid. Buried my card there. 50 degrees and a low of 1 plus 4, so 5, so 37. And we had no precipitation to start from, so continuation isn't part here. Sky conditions. (99). It's cloudy. Precipitation chance 44%. Nope, no precipitation, thankfully. And sunset's gonna be at 6:09. So that's awesome. That means that we get another day of full rate travel, and we should reach the end of this hex side. We were 10 in, and now we're getting, actually we're only getting 15. That's right, 15 is full movement. So we won't quite be at the end of the hex, but you know, for the most part we'll have finished traveling across this next hex out of Elfwine. And what we need to do next is roll for our morning encounter. One in 12. Nope. So we make it through the morning. It's a nice day. The sun is at... Oh no, it's cloudy. That's right. Cloudy without rain. You know, but we're trudging along, and the temperature's not too bad. You know, high of 50. Certainly don't need that fire going anymore, do we? And it's you know, it's kind of nice. We're cruising along. And we make it to our evening encounter. We'll be setting up for dinner. You know, it's only dried rations, but we know that this time leads to conversation and then going to bed and trying to rest for the next day. And there's no encounter. So everybody settles in. And you know, tell a few jokes, enjoy our wonderful rations. cleric, Aetbert Cuthman, is going to make sure that he's prepared to create water in the morning. We'll need to refill our water skins. And we're down another, I think we've had a total of 4 days now. Let's see, when we left, we scrimped on water and kind of held off since we just left that day and didn't do a lot of traveling. But 1, 2, 3, and that would be 4 rations out of our week. And we've only made it through this next hex, so we got a long way to go. Okay. And after going to bed and trying to get a good night's rest, there's no encounter. It's peaceful, and we enjoy the crisp night air, staying above freezing. But it's cloudy when we go to bed. It's dreary when we get up, and crisp in the morning. And so we're nearing the edge of this hex here. We had 15 miles for our movement because we're under a heavy load. So soon, at the end of day 12, or I should say the 12th, still in hex 13, 1323. Really would have been like 5/8, but that's okay. And that is the edge to, what is that, 1422? Yeah, 1422. Alright. So we're on to our next day. We get up, rested, again, go through our routine. The clerics are praying and ask everyone to put their water skins into a pile, and they start to do their morning ritual while Aetbert Cuthman replenishes our water, and the fighters are sparring and checking their gear, making sure everything's ready, while Svaldi finishes whatever studies he's doing, probably packing that 45-pound spell book into his backpack. And we'll have this weather first. Okay, this is starting to pan out. First thing we're going to do is do weather. Oh, we should remember to mark off the calendar too, but I could do this off camera because we're documenting it here. So we just went through the 11th. Right? Yeah, we finished the 11th, which happened to be the full moon festival too. We could have role-played that. So there's some things by not looking at this that I'd be missing out on. I'm gonna, as we get better, or as I get better at this, I'll try to incorporate more of this into the role play. Oh, and I did want to, while I'm thinking about it, talk briefly about how I said, you know, the ranger mentions how unique it was to have encountered that ogre, and I want to fit that into the role play. So we'll see how things pan out, but just know that in the back of my head, as part of the what the Tome of Adventure Design does, is allow me to take these ingredients that happen through the random rolls and then stitch a storyline together about it. And so this ogre, which was rare, you know, a really uncommon thing and unique that happened, I am going to say is working for someone something. And we already know that ogres and you know, different races work together sometimes. That's not unheard of. And you can see that we have these gnolls and orcs here. But there is, I'm going to say, definitely a nemesis that is using the ogre. So regardless of what that is, I'll just say yeah, so we'll see how that plays out. And so like I said, we were at the morning. We'll check our morning. Oh, we need to do weather first. And we came from clear skies, so we'll do our high and low, 8 and 10. The 8 first, plus 4, it's 5 points, so 47 is the high. A little cooler today. Gotta remember not to cover this up when I do it though. High of 47. And a low of 5, so again 37 for the low. Consistently staying above freezing. And our sky conditions are 46, partly cloudy. Precipitation, hopefully not. No. Good. And then we'll go straight into rolling for our encounter in the morning. In the morning. Oh, right away. Okay. So, we're getting ready to go, and, you know, everything's, you know, prepared. And we come upon, or we don't come upon, and something comes upon us. It's daylight, so 95. We see giant ants. Giant ants come wandering into the area. How many giant ants is it? 1 to 4. 1 giant ant. It's a worker. He's out looking for food and such, but we know they're in the area. Let's see. Actually, I should do that separately. Let's put hit dice on this side because we only need to refer to it. What hit dice are those? Giant ants. I think they're like 2 hit dice, aren't they? Yes, hit dice 2. Move 18. This is another thing I should have done in advance, is have all these stats out, because I've limited down what it is that we'll be encountering. But it's hit dice 2, and number of attacks, just 1, damage 1 to 6, and this will have hit points of 7. Alright. Its armor class is 3. Wow. Yuck. Hard to hit. He's small, 2 feet long. Thankfully not warrior with the poisonous sting. Okay. And you know what? I'm going to take a brief moment here to just make sure I'm ready for this and to lay out the miniatures. So give me just a minute. Alright, thanks for bearing with me here. Okay, so we have our party, and we're facing the ant, and so we need to determine at what distance this all happens, and this is our morning encounter, I believe. This is our morning encounter, so you know, like I said, we were preparing to begin the day's journey, and this would be 4 dice 6, I think it is. I keep forgetting. Outdoor base encounter distance is 60 yards to 24 yards. That was another thing I was doing in the last stream that I failed really at throughout the whole combat was the devil is in the details, and I kept saying 60 feet instead of it being 60 yards. The only thing that isn't translated into yards when you're in the outdoor encounters is the radius of spells. So the fireball range would be changed from feet to yards, but the area in which the fireball consumed things with its spell capabilities stayed at what it lists in the player's handbook. So that's how the translation works. So this is 60 yards to 240 yards, 6 die 4. And I have 4. That is 5 and 5, so 10 plus 2 more. Uh, 14. So 140 yards. We see this, you know, probably again Asher with his acute ranger awareness, but maybe Jorbis Bicklemole running around and doing his thing. 140 yards, so 14. Let's get back over here. Kind of in some semblance of what they would be doing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So right here at the very edge. There we go. Okay. This will be our generic starting stance, with basically everybody always kind of like meandering, mingling in the area within range of each other, but probably with the magic user kind of in the middle. And the thief somewhere out on a flank somewhere, generally. The gnome doesn't really hang out real super close and in the space of everybody else. We would roll for surprise and alter the starting location as necessary based on what happens with that surprise. Oh, and so we are surprised, and the ant rolled a 6, man, so there would be quite a bit of time for this ant to go do things, but essentially what the ants are doing is, you know, they're out looking for food and stuff, And I don't think that we actually are food. Hey there, Frozen. I can't really keep up to the with chat very well, so you'll have to excuse me if I don't get back to people in long periods of time. But I don't think the ant considers us as food. Giant ants are encountered 90% likely they will simply be workers. That's right. If found in their lair, we're not. Yeah. So it doesn't really say much more, but I'm going to say that mainly this ant is going about its business, randomly running around doing its thing. It has animal intelligence, and it's a neutral alignment. So, you know, in all of its moving around and things, I'll say it gets closer. And we were surprised, and now we'll declare actions. I don't know if we want to fight this thing or not. Like, I think Asher Wildwood, the ranger, may have encountered ants before and knows that this one doesn't necessarily constitute a whole big threat to him. But, you know, mindless insects wandering around are likely to introduce other insects to the area, you know, like birds of a feather flock together, and if there were 10 of these things, we'd be in dire straits. So, or even one warrior. So I think he's of a mind that probably he's just gonna have to kill it, but we'll see here. So that was surprised. We were surprised. We find it getting a little bit closer to us. And as we begin to decide on what we're going to do, the thief is going to try to be evasive and is going to, again, move off kind of to the flanks. Asher Wildwood is just going to kill it, so he's getting his bow ready. Randall is also going to get his bow ready and engage it when he sees that his friend and the guy he lives with, even though he's not a brother, they kind of grew up as brothers, is doing the same, so they kind of have that connection. And the cleric is just thinking about how he didn't get to finish all of his day's prayers, and how this is probably Cuthbert giving us his sign. I don't think he's going to react at all yet. I think he's going to wait, but probably get his throwing hammer ready. Oh, Willam. He's a little bit subservient to Aetbert. Aetbert is he's the guy who's really kind of leading things at this point. He's making himself known as the one who's decisive in action, and Willam not so much. So initiative, we tied for initiative, and they're not going to have a weapon speed factor, so I'm just going to say that it is faster and it continues to move around. Let's say that it gets, it has a high movement rate, 18, so let's just see if it comes wandering into the party first before we even do anything by rolling a 10-sider and just have it move that many squares closer. So 8, oh yeah. So it's right up on us pretty much now. And with that, for our initiative, he has his bow in hand, so he's going to drop it and draw his blade. And because we're in such close proximity, I'm going to say that he's going to be able to attack him in melee at this point. Well, that's a full 10 feet away. No, he's just going to draw his his blade and move to within melee combat, but he won't strike yet. And the same with, actually no, Randall will try to get a bow shot off at short range, you know, really kind of point blank. And Aetbert will throw his hammer while Willam will move out to the flanks. So a bow shot here against armor class 3. Not likely. Armor class 3, a short bow. Let's see, and he is first level fighter, a 17. No, he misses. The Cuthbert, or sorry, Aetbert Cuthman is going to throw his hammer first level cleric, same, 17. Oh, 13. Nope. He misses as well. And that'll be it for missile weapons. The magic user is going to back away. You know, he's just going to try to avoid the thing. So for now, just to keep him on the map, I'll say he's moving in this direction, keeping a distance from him. And Jorbus Bicklemole is going to take his full movement. Stay to this side for the moment. And we will be rolling for initiative again. Oh, boy, that was way off the edge. 4. So the ant wins, and now that it feels threatened, it's going to kind of hold its ground for a moment and try to attack Asher Wildwood. 2 hit dice. And he also has an armor class of 3. Let's see. So armor class of 3, 2 hit dice. Monster is a 13. Oh, and he hits him exactly a 13 and does 1d6. Below. Ah, devastating. I think that kills him. No, fortunately he has 11 hit points. Dang. He has 11. He took 6. All right. Just 5 left. So those mandibles at about, 2 feet high just get up underneath that chain shirt and gouge him a bit in the thighs and such, inside of the leg. It's pretty devastating. And he screams, and I didn't actually, you know what? See, I'm already not doing it again. This would be round 2. We're in round 2. And I didn't do declarations for everyone. I just went into the initiative. And this is going to become really important when spells come into play and everything. So I really need to start doing declarations at the right time. Randall was going to engage it in melee combat, so he drops his bow and draws his long sword and moves up, but can't attack this round. Seeing that there is no chance of melee for these guys, he continues to come around. The thief is going to come right up behind it, sneak in, and try to get it unawares next turn. So he's coming in as stealthy as he possibly can. He has this whole movement, so he's gonna move in. Both gonna move in on this side, kind of keep it cornered. Magic users staying away, and I think Asher Wildwood having just been struck, I think he's going to... He's only got 4 hit points, so that's as much as anybody else has. He's going to engage. He'll go ahead and take his attack, but I see how this should have already been declared, so regardless of whether who hits first and damage being done and everything, you execute what it is that you were going to do, so I really need to be better about that. Alright, so he's going to be able to strike, he's not going to be able to strike, so let's do that. And that is Armor Class 3, first level fighter, I think I said 17? Oh gosh. Yep. 17. Oh wait, he does have a good strength with a plus to hit. Yes, he would at least have a +1 to hit. Okay, good. Gotta make sure this all stays covered. Alright, so instead of a 17, he needs a 16. No, he misses. Okay, so that puts us into round 3. Oh no, not yet. We won initiative. It's not round 3 yet. It's attack. And let's see if it changes. 1, 2, 3, it sticks with Asher. No, it tries to bite Randall instead, or uses mandibles on Randall. And Randall also has a 3 armor class. So monster 2 would be 13. No, doesn't hit him, thankfully. And then we declare actions, and we're in turn 3. So I already marked it. And or I should say round 3. I'm getting that wrong as well. These facts matter. Turns are 10 minutes, rounds are 60 seconds. So intentions, we're going to continue to engage in melee combat with it, and the thief, Jorbus Bicklemole, the illusionist thief, is going to try to get it from back with some sort of surprise attack with his short sword. And the clerics here are just waiting with oh, hey, you know what? Willam has the bright idea to heal Asher Wildwood. So he's going to use his movement to come around and heal him in the next round. So he won't be able to run all the way over there and cast the spell, but he's going to run over there this time and get in a position. I guess he can run this way and get close enough to him to start praying over him and touch his body. Ooh, that sounds interesting, doesn't it? This one's out of order. This doesn't sound like combat at all. It sounds kind of tranquil. That's not the case. We're fighting a giant ant here, by golly. Okay. So we declared actions, and we know what everybody's going to do. The magic user is still just going to stay over here. He has nothing to contribute to this battle at this point. Initiative. We win initiative. Nice. And so that will bring it to, we'll say the boys here attacking. They needed a 17 to hit. Actually, Asher only needs a 16 to hit. No, and Randall Windsor with his longsword. Yes, he hits. He lands a blow with his longsword across the back between his abdomen and his next section of body. And for small, I think he does 1 to 6. Um, 1 to 8. Longsword 1 to 8 versus small. Max hit points. Nice. And it only had 7, so that was it. He comes down with the stroke and slices that thing through its little chitinous armor there, and it is ant guts on the ground. Awesome. Okay. And so that took 3 rounds. Randall cleans up his blade, wipes the ant guts off of it. Jorbus and Aetbert, get stuff to cover the body, kind of, scrape out a little area. They don't have shovels, so they're not digging a hole, but they scrape out an area where they're gonna have the body there. It's only 2 feet long, so it's like burying a pet. And we go back about our evening. And we roll, or we go about, getting ready for our day. That was actually the morning. I forgot. That's the morning. And as we complete the day's journey, coming towards evening, not really seeing anything too much to note, but anticipating seeing merchants and pilgrims along the way, we make our roll for the evening check as we're about to set up camp. Now, under the map, below us here, the road's kind of going off this way from bottom of dice up to this corner. That's the river's flowing like this, and we're making camp off the side of the road, not too far away, and this is plains-like with a river that's had tons of time over eons to settle in the sediment and everything. So it's generally open with some scrubby brush and a few rocks here and there. But for the most part flat with very little to really hide behind. The ogre was kind of squatting down behind the brush back there. And we need to do our evening check. Three. No, we don't find anything, or nothing occurs. So we continue on through the day and prepare for the next. And I think there's probably a deliberation amongst the party about the spells. I think Aetbert and Willam are probably thinking, are we certain that we're giving all that's due in our prayers and requests of St. Cuthbert? Because really our spells, they're not, the clerics are keeping us alive, definitely, with the create water. That's a given, like totally. But we're going to run out of food here unless we come across some wild boars and kill them. We're not eating the ants, and we only have a couple more days worth of food from the week because it's such a slog and we move so slow. The magic user, he just doesn't have anything, and while Jorbus Bicklemole has his wall of fog, he's not really. The prismatic spray might have worked against the ogre. He could change to prismatic spray, but just want to call out there are options. So I think after a time, realizing that there's no real reason to change things, we settled in for the night. put somebody on watch. For Willam Pembroke here. It's our man on watch. Put ourselves kind of like this. And we'll roll the end of the night of the 12th. And we don't have an encounter. So that means that we had arrived at full movement into Hex 1422. Fought this, so we need the experience points for this. Later I'll come up with that and tally it up, but for now it's not really necessary. But we did this, and we should start another day. That first day we moved about another 10 miles in. We'll say 10 miles. There was 5 to finish the previous hex. So we'll have a high, a low, and will there be precipitation? And again, it's plains, so we'll be also having a morning and evening. I don't know why I did that. Morning, evening, and midnight. Check. And we would have had food and water this day. Actually, we would have food and water here too. But this will be at the end of the day, so we just had this water. I shouldn't actually be marking this one in, I don't think. I think that's the way the routine's going to go. Marking this off at the end of the day, and we're just starting the new day. And we need our highs and lows. $42 plus 1.8 plus 4 up in high, and minus 1.10 plus 4 down. So we'll have the 8 plus 4 is 5, so 53 will be the high. Will be the high, and 7 plus 4 is 11, so it'll be 31 will be the low. And we'll roll for sky conditions. 72. It's cloudy again. Is there any rain or anything precipitation wise? 44%. Please say no. Oh, whew, that was close. I almost rolled on that too. 86. No, we are good to go. No precipitation. And we have our full movement rate. We've been without rain enough. We are 10 miles in, I said. Yeah, we're about 10 miles into Hex 1422. And we'll roll for our next morning routine, because nothing happened at midnight. I don't remember if anything happened here. Was this where our, back to the 11th? Oh, this is where our merchant was. Yeah. It is the 13th of Coldeven, Earth Day. We didn't pray during the full moon festival or anything, so maybe that's why St. Cuthbert agreed to attack us with giant ants. Who knows? Alright, so we roll for our morning encounter. No. And we start out on our day. And you can see Elfwine here in this view. And we started traveling up the river. We made it past this first hex side, and then we made it through 2 more days. We made it to the edge of this hex. We were almost across. There's only 5 more miles to go, and that was yesterday. And we moved another 10 miles into here, because we have a 15 movement right now, our max speed. And now that we've crossed through there and we have our 15 move, we'll be making it across this bend here on our way to Hex. What is that? I can't even see it. 1523. 1523. I should be able to calculate it just based on higher and lower. That's where we're headed. And in 1422, having it made it past the one, and having made it past our morning without an encounter, by evening we would be through that whole 15 miles. So that's 25. So we're 5 from the edge again of this next hex. Just 5 miles to go, and we've made it around the bend and up toward the next bend. You got this chicane, they call this in racing, this S curve. So we're right about here. As we make our camp, it's a lovely area. Birds chirping. It's a nice evening. Sun's going down. We've been lucky so far. We're feeling good about ourselves and starting to get this travel thing into a rhythm. And we make our evening random encounter roll as we set up camp. No encounter. So once again, 5 miles from the edge of the hex. And we're setting up camp. Kind of the same organization that we are. We put somebody on watch. This time it's Randall. Randall Windsor. Our wholesome fighter, whose father is a retired fighter in the village of Elfwine. Lives in Farm 2. I remember that. With his wife. He's an older guy. He's been training Randall. He's a good guy too. He's still kind of like acting head of the militia there in town. So he's still giving back to the community. And we eat rations and drink water and talk. And we roll for our midnight encounter while Randall is on watch. No. And friends, that's where I'm going to leave it. This is like the longest stream I've done, and I know it gets boring just sitting there watching me play this out and talk, but that was a few days there we just went through. That was 3 days. 3 days of travel, through a hex, into the next, starting to get this down into a little more of a rhythm, and I think play will start to increase here shortly as everything is better defined and we come across less new gaps in the rules where we have to fill it in for solo play, first edition, advanced Dungeons and Dragons. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I really do enjoy this. It is, I think, the coolest thing ever since the storyline is kind of just developing itself. And I get to play with all the old toys that I haven't had out of the closet or the attic and such in so many different years. Just so exciting. So if you're watching this, thanks for jumping in and saying hey. Frozen X saying hey there earlier. Appreciate it. And I guess I will then see you on another stream. Bye-bye.